I have a unique theory about where this all fits into the Insidious timeline. Stick around to the end of this video where I'll discuss that. In this first shot, there's a woman standing out in the woods, but upon closer inspection, it may not actually be a woman, but maybe an owl or something? It looks like there could also be someone looking out the window. There have been a lot of presences that have made themselves known by appearing in the window in the first 3 films, so my guess is we'll see that come back. In fact, it's like 99% confirmed later in the trailer. I personally hope that we get to see this guy again at some point, because he was one of my favorite spooks from the original. This is an ARI kit, a set of lights that we use in the film industry, which come in an easily transported container like this. I'm not saying that this character is going to be a filmmaker or anything. Sometimes we just use equipment as props and set decoration. There are a lot of literal keys in this trailer. One of the big questions is going to be, what does it all mean? The creature seems to put this key into the girl's vocal cords, I think that's the most mature way I can describe that, and looks to turn the key and lock away her voice. Let's watch the clip again. It's also more or less confirmed in the international trailer where she goes silent and the creature does this. I'll come back to the significance of that in a moment, but another thing I noticed is that this creature seems to be in our world, because while the lighting is a little bit reminiscent of the Further, that realm always has this low-lying ground fog. This scene does not. The setting of this film looks like the Southwest USA, and in the international trailer, it's mentioned that the film takes place in Five Keys, New Mexico. This is not a real town, so anything I deduct about the setting in this video is intentionally done that way by the filmmakers. For example, the director chose to make this welcome sign look like a tombstone. He also chose to make the town's tagline, "We'll unlock your heart." If this creature can lock people's vocal cords, it stands to reason that he can also lock away other parts of the body as well. In a metaphorical sense, there may be 4 things that make up who a person really is. We've seen each one manifested by characters in The Wizard of Oz, for example. You have their heart, which represents their desires, their voice, which represents essentially communication and friendship, their mind, which obviously represents their thoughts, and how do I put this without getting demonetized? Kahunas, which indicate courage. There are other ways you can break these basic human traits down, but you get the idea. Now, in the Insidious movies, in The Further, we tend to see a bunch of human spirits and this one demon who looks like Darth Maul. From what I can gather, this keymaster creature is another demon from that world. While Darth Maul's main objective was to take over a human vessel, I think this new creature operates a bit differently. When a character astral projects, they're putting themselves out there outside of their human body, and what they are projecting is more or less the essence of who they are, their mind, their heart, their voice, or otherwise. I think this creature preys on people by either locking specific traits outside of their body or possibly locking them in and effectively limiting their astral abilities. As you can imagine, either of these could be used to terrify someone, especially if you have to confront or defeat this keymaster creature in order to unlock yourself. There's even more importance to the keys than that though. In Insidious, the red-faced demon has his own domain in The Further, with the shackles, the record player, and this claw-sharpening device. I think this new demon's domain is going to be this prison, which would make sense for him since prisons are filled with locks and he's literally made of keys. Speaking of the layers of these demons, I think they may be the only clue to figuring out why this clown thing is in the trailer. This is admittedly pretty weak, but the only connection I can make is to the clown dolls we see in the red-faced demon's lair. In the international trailer, we get a peek at this girl's sketches, and they're very similar to the drawings done by Dalton in Insidious. You'll also notice that her mouth is stitched shut, which adds support to my idea of her voice being locked by that creature. Now, I'm gonna get into the timeline stuff, so buckle in because it gets a bit confusing. Let me first review the timeline of events so far so we're all on the same page. The earliest point we've seen so far is Elise as a younger adult in Chapter 2, when she helps Josh Lambert forget about his astral abilities as a child. This is also the period to which the adult versions of these characters travel back to see the origins of the Black Bride, as he's abused by his mother, the woman in white. Chronologically, the next time we see Elise is after her retirement in Chapter 3. She comes out of retirement to help Quinn Brenner eradicate the man who can't breathe and reconnect with her late mother. By that time, the Black Bride is grown up and Elise has to fight it off. This is also where she meets Specs and Tucker. A few years later, the events of the original movie unfold. Elise helps the Lambert family bring back their son Dalton from The Further, and Josh Lambert has to relearn how to astral project in order to do so. At the end, the Black Bride possesses Josh's body and kills Elise. That leads us to the present portion of chapter 2, where Elise's spirit in the further drives out the Black Bride from Josh's body just before he kills his family. So, where does this fourth installment take place? Let's look at the trailer again. Elise seems to be telling the story as a flashback.
These hauntings can be terrifying things. I should know. I have faced many evils in my life.
We are then shown clips from each of the 3 Insidious movies. She also says, "This was different though." Keyword, was. So we know she's telling a story from the past, and the story is being told from sometime after this scene in chapter 2. The story she's telling takes place after chapter 3. We know that because she's already working with Specs and Tucker, but before Insidious because she's not dead. In this story, we hear her say the following.
The haunted house is my family's house.
I think we're actually going to see flashbacks within the flashback that frames the movie and get a look in on Elise's childhood and young adult years as a result. Notice how this girl and Elise are never in the same shot? Maybe it's because they're the same person. It makes sense because they both astral project.
I can see things too.
Here's the best piece of evidence though. The girl examines this jacket in the house. If you pause at just the right moment, the name tag shows a first name ending in O, last name Rainier, which is also Elise's last name. Her husband is mentioned in chapter 3 and his name is Jack, which if you aren't aware, does not end in the letter O. My theory is that the jacket belongs to Elise's father, who also seems to be assistant warden at the prison, the lurking place of the keymaster creature. Maybe the keymaster is connected somehow to Elise's relationship with her father. Maybe they're even the same person. I think the way the international trailer is edited also suggests that the girl and Elise are one and the same. Older Elise is attacked and younger Elise goes flying. It's treated as one sequence. She also looks similar enough to the younger version of Elise from chapter 2. In addition to Elise as a young adult, we'll also see her as a child. Take a closer look at how this little girl responds to the name Elise.
Elise?
So if everything I predicted is true, then maybe this character right here is a younger version of the Bride in Black. We see him as a child in chapter 2, being scolded for using a male name, Parker, and we know he has the elder female alter ego who killed 15 people. We also know that he's followed her for a very long time. The wallpaper in this trailer for the new movie matches the wallpaper in Parker's room, and there may or may not be a connection between the butterflies on Elise's shirt and those on the wall in Parker's room. There may be other references as well, so let me know what you saw in the comments. If you're excited for this movie, let me know by leaving this video a like, and if you're a fan of horror, which I mean, I'm assuming you are if you're here at this point, you're going to want to subscribe to this channel, CZsWorld, for new horrors every week. Later today, I'll be on the air with Lady White Rabbit and Mortis Media for a new episode of our live show, The Dead Stream. So join us for that at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 10 p.m. GMT. All you have to do is ring the death bell for notifications, and I'll see you this afternoon, assuming we both survive.